ever see stuff you can't explain?
This came from somewhere else.
Oh, freedom, we're all going against the wind.
Life elsewhere in the universe is virtually a certainty.
CIA monkey business.
That was awful strange.
Can we start by talking about how fucking thirsty Neil the ass Tyson is? Like,
oh my God, about the mirror.
with his fucking kiss the mirror shit? What are you doing, dude? No one cares about that. Stop trying to make that happen. For those who don't know, over the past like 10 years, Neil deGrasse the ass Tyson has made a series of tweets, probably like 10 or 20 tweets, like just talking about how you can only kiss your own lips in a mirror. And it's like, why?
But he keeps coming back to it.
And they're all
like,
slightly different. Like, it's not all the
They
same
are.
tweet. There's like a
like
little...
he keeps pretending he's come up with the idea for the first time. He's
Yeah.
like, guys, this just occurred to me.
I'm about to blow your fucking mind. It's like, we fucking know. We saw it last year, dude. Like, please stop. Stop.
Do you think he's trying every time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just
I think
increasingly
actually,
frustrating.
yeah, maybe he can do it actually. And he's like just trying to show
Bragging.
off. Yeah, he's bragging. He's like, oh, I can, but everybody else can't. Everybody else has to only kiss themselves on the lips.
Should we introduce the pod?
Oh yeah. Hey there. Yes, Talia. What's up?
Laura.
I'm LL Cool J.
Okay.
You invited me to this as LL. I thought that's where you were going with it.
Did I even? I don't
You
remember doing
did.
that.
You said LL. You're invited to Zencaster, and I was like, LL Cool J. All right, awesome. I'll be that.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, welcome to Take Me to Your Dealer, everyone. It's me, Talia, here with LL Cool J.
Yeah. What are we talking about today? Towel.
A lot of holes.
Yeah, too many holes. A lot of
holes.
Yeah,
Filled with Nazis and aliens and mammoths.
Yeah, possibly mammoths, mammoth aliens. Yeah, it's Hollow Earth, you know? We felt like this would be a nice little sister episode to Hollow Moon. And I just wanted to say, like, we're going to go spelunking, you know? We're going to spelunk the shit out of Hollow Earth. We're going deep. We're getting down and deep and dirty in that fucking Hollow Earth, all right? Get ready for
Deepest, yeah.
Get ready.
It is, I was surprised doing more research for Hollow Moon, our last episode, and how the two theories aren't even remotely the same. Hollow Moon has its own theory, you know, alien spaceship, whatever it might be. This is way denser
And somehow less
and goes
credible.
back way farther.
Somehow less credible than Hollow Moon. Somehow I believe Hollow Moon more than this.
I feel like now I'm a believer in Hollow Moon after doing
If
the
you
research
had
for
to
this
choose,
episode.
if like gun to your head had to fucking choose, like, yeah, all right, Hollow Moon it is.
No, I'm definitely like a couple of days deep into research for this one and was like, you know, the moon might be a hologram, actually. I've never been there.
Yeah. Oh, God, that'll make Crow 777 happy. Yeah, so the prevailing theory in UFO lore is that Nazis actually didn't fucking lose the war. They actually went underground to this secret underworld that's harboring advanced alien life. I mean, not even alien. They're like pre-humans. They're like the actual inhabitants of this planet. Like, we are the pests and, like, you know, freaks of the planet, and the underworld beings are like the true I'm gonna do air quotes here, superior races. That's their words, not mine. Their words, not mine. Just saying. That's what they like to say.
Yeah. We can get into it more.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just that they, you know, during World War II, we know that Nazis were really obsessed with trying to figure out all of this like weird supernatural, like ancient lore and just crazy shit. And
I mean, very into the occult and ancient civilizations, you know, like why?
I think the mentality was just like, you know, if anyone's going to discover it, it might as well be us. And then we would win this war and have aliens on our side or some crazy shit. I mean,
right.
Hitler was really losing it, just absolutely nuts, and
That was the
made them do
syphilis.
this shit.
That was the syphilis
Maybe.
eating his brain. Maybe.
Maybe.
Or it was.
But yeah, that's the idea, is that they got this one right somehow, and yeah, discovered a secret civilization under the earth and have been hiding out there ever since. And
yeah,
it ties into some of the modern accounts on how people think that there's UFOs, or how we have like video evidence of UFOs kind of like coming out of the water in some instances. And it's kind of led some people to wonder if they're actually under the ocean or underground to begin with, not in outer space.
Yeah. So there's this guy, Rodney Clough. He's like kind of the guy keeping this theory alive today. And I don't really understand what his credentials are, but he's an author, which like I suppose anybody could be. And his book is called World Top Secret: Our Earth is Hollow. He's got to, you know, put that emphasis on is.
Right.
And basically in it, the whole thesis of the book is that, yes, a majority of the UFOs that come, that we see, that, you know, are present today, they come from inside the planet. And he's basing a lot of these claims specifically on a letter that was written by German Nazi navigator Karl Unger, who was aboard the 1940s, a 1940 German U-boat that apparently went inside the hollow earth, and they just, you know, had a great time with those aliens in there.
I want to like say this up front before we get too into it. This is all bullshit for sure. And if you believe this, you're absolutely kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the Earth is weird though. Like, look, okay,
it's weird.
I don't believe that. Same thing with the hollow moon, though. Same thing with the hollow moon. It's like, okay, probably bullshit, but there is weird shit going on, you know?
And I'm going to also mention real quick, Betty and Barney Hill did repeatedly say that they saw Nazis in those UFOs.
Oh, it's common.
They said they were Nazis in Nazi uniforms. So, and you guys can hear about that in our Betty and Barney Hill episode. Just saying. That's a little weird.
Just saying. Also, like the obsession with the fucking Aryan race of like blonde, blue-eyed people. Like that's the fucking Nordic alien description. And that's very commonly seen in, you know, abduction cases, like these Nordic beings. So just saying. I don't know.
Yeah. So let's get into it a little bit here. The Earth is really weird. And a few things here that we can't explain about it still to this day. One of the things that we're going to keep talking about on this episode is the magnetic pole shift that happens on Earth. If you guys aren't aware, we have a geographic north and a south pole that lines up with the Earth's axis. It is different from the magnetic north and south pole. And the magnetic north and south pole right now is about 500 kilometers off that axis and continues to move east to west over time. And throughout...
I feel like I'm back in fucking Earth science.
Throughout Earth's history, the poles shift every, like, I don't even know, million years or something. And it would be like an apocalyptic event if it happened today. They actually think that could have possibly be what happened to Mars. Is like it had a magnetic pole shift and wiped out the population and lost the atmosphere. Anyway, people started to notice that because of its problems that it would cause with like navigation. Obviously, like sailors, whatever.
Right.
I mean, also just the fact that throughout human history, they've had to come up with reasons that things like volcanoes happen or hot springs or geysers and earthquakes. Just like, what is this weird shit? And came up with some really weird ideas to explain it. And of course, like, there's ideas about hollow earth all throughout human history.
Oh my God, it's not new at all.
No.
This idea of hollow earth is not a new thing. Yeah, this has basically been going on since like the beginning of
time.
Everything. Like, I mean, every religion has like their hell, right? Like their underworld, their like idea of like what is inner what is like in the earth, right? So it's like Christian literally, like the Bible literally says that hell is at the center of earth. And like in Judaism, like same thing. It's like Jewish hell is called like Sheol. It's like the same thing, like just center of the earth. Buddhism, Agartha, Shambhala, that kind of like inner world theory that's supposedly inhabited by, again, like an advanced race.
Right.
I guess they have trains and vehicles. I don't know.
And then there's the Norse idea of Midgard, which inspired Middle Earth
Yeah.
as well. Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Which would
That's
be my favorite, I
true.
guess.
Classic.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I like Dante's Inferno. That's Italian.
It is
In case you didn't
Italian.
know.
Yeah. All those hell
That's
circles. Yeah. He was a weird one, that guy.
That's it.
He had some weird ideas.
The Paisan version. And the elders of the Hopi people
Right.
believed that there was an entrance in the Grand Canyon
Mm-hmm.
that led to the underworld. And actually, just a little caveat here, Charles Manson like subscribed to this idea, the Hopi belief that the Grand Canyon like was the entrance to some kind of underworld. And he actually told his followers that every tuned in tribe of people that's ever lived have escaped the destruction of their race by going underground, and they're all living in like this golden city with milk and honey and all this like bullshit. And so Charles Manson, believes in it.
Cool.
So that's definitely more just, credentials adding to this.
Yeah.
this
so
idea.
far the count for massive followers of this idea is Charles Manson and Hitler. So that's awesome if you guys are trying to figure out which side to align yourselves with.
Yes, exactly. If you'd like to align yourselves with Charles Manson and Hitler,
Right.
then
Okay. Good
there
to
you go.
know.
There it is.
Yeah. So scientists all through human history have been trying to explain a lot of this like weird shit, and also being very influenced by these stories, of course. The first one that I feel like we should mention is going to be Kircher from the 1600s. He had a crazy name, so I'm just going to go with Kircher.
Get him.
That's his name. I love this dude, reading about this guy, because he's been cited as the founder of Egyptology, which is super cool because he spent a lot of time trying to decipher Egyptian hieroglyphics and claimed that he did. And it wouldn't be until like years later that everyone realized that most of his translations were just total bullshit.
Amazing. Oh my God. He was literally just fucking around.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, it's that.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's
now
exactly
give me
what
my
he
check.
did. But he was also like super into microbiology, and he actually correctly proposed that the plague was caused by microbes and suggested a lot of ways to like mitigate plague issues based off of that. So that was pretty chill. He also loved geology in general, loved volcanoes, loved fossils.
Who doesn't?
He went to Italy in the 1600s and just was totally fascinated by Vesuvius, and was actually lowered into the crater, which is cool because at the time it was on the brink of eruption, making him kind of a badass. And while in the volcano, he claimed that he heard the sound of devils. Probably.
Wow.
Yeah, sure he did.
I believe it.
And he came up with some cool ideas. He said,
what does a devil sound like?
What do you think?
Just like a lot of that.
Yeah. That checks, yeah. He said that he basically decided, I don't know how you really like just decide this. I feel like scientists back then mostly just did a lot of thinking. Like they just came up with ideas and were like, yes.
It was a lot of gut feelings.
Yeah.
I think it was a lot of just like my soul is telling me this.
Yeah. And I put it in a book, so it must be true. So his gut was telling him that that tides were caused by water moving to and from underground areas, kind of like cycling around the North and South poles. And he published all of this information in a book called Mundus Subterraneus, saying that the Earth was filled with a bunch of different chambers, some with magma, some with water. And these different chambers caused magma chambers caused volcanoes, water chambers caused geysers. And so, of course, the Earth was like pretty hollow with just like weird big water chambers throughout it. And
That's pretty interesting, actually. Just like a little side note, I don't know if I didn't mention before, but there actually was like a recent discovery in 2014.
right.
These geophysicists, they used like seismic readings, and they actually did discover like a large mass of water that was trapped in a mineral layer that was 400 miles beneath the surface. And it's like 3 times as much water as like all of the oceans currently combined, which is just like, what? And it just goes to show, like, we don't actually fucking know what's down there.
We have
like,
no idea.
We're finding shit out all the time.
And what we do know. No, I mean, it's true. And like what we do know, we know because we have like seismic readings and stuff like that tries to like help us understand the density of the earth and, you know, what type of material it's moving through. But like, it's still a fucking guess. And anyone who tells you it's not is lying to you. And the most we've ever drilled is like, it's like Kola super deep hole that's like what, like 6 miles or something?
The Kola hole?
Yeah.
The Kola Hola? Yeah, the Kola borehole. That fucking shit. That's the deepest man-made hole. We started drilling in the fucking 70s. It took us like more than 20 years to drill it. It's 40,230 feet deep. And we had to stop because it was too hot. And apparently, it's in Russia. Also, it's located in Russia. And apparently, like, locals say that they hear souls screaming from hell when they go near it.
It's probably just whatever horrible sounds of machinery they're dealing with all fucking day long. And it's
just like,
what are you doing? There must be a reason for this. And it's like, well, we're digging a hole. Okay, how far are you digging it? Probably forever.
We just want to dig.
It's like my house is here, man.
Kind of keep digging.
At some point, I would hear devils too.
Yeah. Is the hole still there?
Yeah, they sealed it up. And
you go to the hole? Oh, they did seal it.
No,
okay, good.
So they sealed it, and then people have been like breaking it. So now it's like super damaged.
Oh no.
I mean, like, yeah.
So people can literally like go and fall into that fucking hole?
That's what I was saying.
Go into hell?
I know. Okay, spooky. Yeah, devils are going to get out. But like, seriously, like, are you telling me you could trip and fall 6 miles into the earth?
Oh,
can we cover that?
Taking a little stroll in the woods.
No.
Just like
cover that back up, please.
Falling forever. You just fall forever.
It's not funny. It's
like eventually, like, when do you stop screaming? When you're just falling, you're just like, you trip and you're just like falling into the hole. You're like, and then it's like it just keeps going, and you're like, okay, I guess I'll stop screaming now because I'm still falling, and I don't know what else to do. So, like, yeah, just when do you stop screaming is my question.
All right. Well, on that note, Kircher's work went on to influence a bunch of other dudes who did some thinking. I guess we'll call them scientists. One of them was Edmund Halley, who was...
I just saw Halley's Comet. Do you know that song?
I love that song.
It's a good song.
It is a good song. It's
do you think Edmund Halley would like it?
Yeah. Oh, he'd definitely like it. He was definitely seemed like a dude's dude. Him and Isaac Newton were his best buds.
Oh,
they wrote letters to each other all the time.
Were, man.
I can wait. So who sings that song?
Fucking Shinedown, dude. Obviously,
that's not Shinedown.
Yes, it's Shinedown.
No,
Google it right now. I just saw Halley's Comet.
Oh my god! We need a what's his name? Jamie. We need a Jamie in the studio. Bring that up. Bring that up, Jamie.
Right.
I'm just kidding. He would know exactly who sings that song. Okay.
It's fucking Shinedown.
Okay, I believe you.
I'm gonna die on this hill, inside of the hill.
Okay. Edmund Halley of Shinedown fame was a scientist who helped catalog the stars, and he did a lot of this work to try to help with like the navigational problems that sailors had, I guess, due to like magnetic pole shifts that we were talking about and all that sort of stuff.
They didn't know what was going on.
He did some really hard thinking, come up with the idea that the Earth's crust was just an outer shell, and that inside the Earth's outer shell was another Earth with a shell.
Another shell, like shell upon shell.
Yeah, just like like little like Russian nesting dolls, just like over and over and over again. And in between
Right.
each of the Earths was like an ether that they were kind of like encased in. And that ether would like
an atmosphere.
I always like imagined it more as like a liquid one.
Oh.
I guess.
Oh, I thought he thought that each layer kind of had an atmosphere capable of supporting life.
Yeah, well, it would have to, I guess.
Yeah, but
it was that.
Yeah, so it's like layer upon layer.
But it was that atmosphere, that ether that he said caused the magnetic shifts.
Oh, okay.
Like all the ether between the earth balls. So I guess because of that, I assumed it was like a sloshing.
Oh, I don't know. He also thought that the aurora borealis was actually caused by escaping gas that escapes from like the shells and like the atmosphere. Like, so basically, yeah, he thought that there was like you said, you know, like it's like a Russian nesting doll, kind of like sphere within a sphere. They each had their own magnetic pole. They were like rotating at different speeds, so it's like layers, like an onion, also like a Shrek,
like a Shrek,
and like a Shrek, and yeah. So that was kind of like he was like really the first one that really made it like popular. I feel like after he kind of signed off on this, it was like, all right, like Hollow Earth, let's fucking get down with that. Did Newton?
He was totally respected in the scientific community. Yeah,
support this.
Newton did support it, and he also Halley used Newton's scientific principles that he came up with to develop his Hollow Earth theory. So, and he's like the first person to really like directly use Newton's ideas to do this. So yeah, no, they were in love with each other for sure.
Wait, there's a cute story I found, actually. It's going to take like 1 second. Okay, so in 1698, the Tsar of Russia, I guess Peter the Great was his name. He was visiting England and he really wanted to hang out with Newton, but Newton was like, nah, like I'm too cool for you. Like I'm going to send my bud Halley, you know? So like just hang out with my bud Halley, you know, he'll suffice. And so I guess they like got really drunk together and they had like a great time together. They like fell in love. And apparently Halley was like pushing around Peter the Great in a wheelbarrow, like all throughout wherever the fuck they were staying. Like, yeah, he was just like pushing him around all drunk, like jovially, like
dude, this guy sounds great. Wild. I thought he was so fun.
This dude's rocking. Dude's fucking rocking, man.
All through history, dudes have rocked and continue to rock. The dude must rock.
They'll never stop. Yeah. Right.
So this theory becomes popularized and was used by John Cleves Sims, who would go on to really become the person that Sims created this idea of Hollow Earth based off these theories, and this would go on to become the Hollow Earth theory that people used for centuries and really spawned conspiracy theories that we still see today. So
yeah, he subscribed to Halley's multi-layered, you know, idea of, you know, ogres are like onions kind of thing. But the only difference was that he believed that there were entrances like in the North and the South Pole, like there were actual holes that you could travel to and fro, basically, and they became known as Sims holes. It's just like funny to like have holes named after you. I don't know.
This part, I feel so bad for him because like he came up with this whole theory and considered himself a scientist. And like imagine like your mark on the world is like forever there'd be some region of the world that people refer to as like Laura's holes.
My holes. Yes, these are my holes.
Just such a bummer.
Enjoy my holes. He actually believed, dude, he went real fucking far. He believed that all planetary bodies and even like the entire universe itself was hollow and had holes. He just fucking got like weird with the holes.
Yeah, he did.
You know?
No, he said that like, basically Earth is five spheres, made up of 5 spheres. Why can't I do this? Made up of 5 spheres.
You can do it.
We are the outermost sphere, and then there's 4 more inside, similar to what Halley was saying. But yeah, he was like, and obviously there must be so many other objects in the world that are just like ours. They all also have spheres inside of them. And of course, our sphere has beings in it. So all the other spheres in the universe must also have beings in it. And yeah, he kind of,
course.
he was pretty presumptuous.
Yeah, he assumed a lot. He got a pretty large following. He had a lot of supporters subscribing to his fucking Sims holes.
He did.
Sucking on those Sims holes. And he actually got Congress to vote on funding for an expedition to find these holes.
They did vote no,
but of course, they voted no.
But
no. It's like crazy that they got them to vote.
Yeah, because he had such a big following.
And so they couldn't deny it. They couldn't deny the holes,
But he had he had cool ideas about the way that they looked too and stuff. Like he mentioned that it was like he's the one that first really starts talking about like how they were warm, rich lands and had like vegetables and animals and
warm, rich holes.
He loved the warm, rich holes. And he also basically said that the earth was so flattened at the poles in such a way that you could literally like fly over the pole and accidentally find yourself between the next layer of earth
in the hole.
He's saying you could accidentally
fall in the
hole, and also theorized that people that the instability of the magnetic shifts are actually due to people accidentally crossing holes.
Oh my God. It's like accidentally like slipping it in the bee hole. Is that what he's talking about? Is that a Sims hole?
Like an Urban Dictionary, that's a Sims hole.
Is that what that act is called? Accidentally slipping it in the Sims hole. All right, we need to stop.
All right, let's get done with
enough about the Sims holes.
Over it.
He fucking continued campaigning for this until his death in 1849, and I'll just say he literally died inside that hole.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right, we got to move on.
We're moving on
to
now.
Richard Byrd,
the Bird himself,
Dickie Byrd,
Dick Bird himself,
the Birdman. Yeah, dude, he was cool. He was an American naval officer. He was an explorer. He served in both the World Wars. He was fucking obsessed with flying long distances. He couldn't stop. He couldn't stop himself.
He did lie his ass off though about flying to the North Pole. For the
apparently, yeah. So on May 9th, 1926, he set out on an expedition to fly over the North Pole. It was the first mission of its kind. Nobody had ever done that before. And allegedly, he did it, but people are saying he didn't. I don't know. Yeah, there's like, what contradicting evidence did you find? Like, did you find like...
Yeah, so
evidence of him not doing it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna we're not gonna get super into this right here. It's like a real side quest.
Are we
we're going
trashing
down,
Bird?
But we're gonna trash Bird a little bit because basically he said that he was the first person to like fly over the North Pole, and it turns out based off people who like worked with him or were like there for this progress that he couldn't make it as far as the North Pole due to like fuel issues, and instead of like trying again or being honest about it, he just fudged
like
the numbers.
20s planes.
He's like, well, I got close enough.
These were fucking 20s planes. I can't do that shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Close enough is not the same thing, bud. But no, he did fly over the South Pole though. He did that a few times.
Yeah. He also flew across the Atlantic Ocean. I guess that was a feat. And he actually became like a national hero after these expeditions. I mean, one of them was not true apparently, but he tried.
He did.
He tried.
His third expedition to Antarctica was actually financed by the U.S. government, so they were kind of getting in on what he was doing there. And then the fourth expedition is a fun one because that ended up being known as Operation High Jump, which also, by the way, we're now talking about 1946 to 1947. We're now in hot UFO summer. Just saying.
Ooh, I thought we were. I could feel it. I could feel
it heating up in
the
here.
sun on my cheeks. Yeah. Okay, and let's just mention here real briefly the Secretary of the Navy, James Forrestal of MJ-12 fame. He's the one who appointed Byrd as the officer in charge of the Antarctic Developments Project. So make of that what you will. Make of that what you will is all I'll say. Yeah.
This is
So Operation High Jump. It's crazy.
It is crazy. It's the largest Antarctic expedition ever, still to today.
Yep.
It was a massive naval force that included 13 U.S. naval ships, 6 helicopters, 6 flying boats, yada, yada, yada. There's a bunch of shit out there, a lot of military. And like, they said there's a bunch of different reasons for doing it, but what they ended up eventually admitting, and what Byrd basically admitted in an interview as well, is that the U.S. just wanted to establish a permanent military base because they were afraid that someone else was gonna, and then we would be exposed to attacks from the poles.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So it was kind of like a no man's land down there, but everybody suddenly at the same time wanted to claim territory down there,
like
including the Germans. Yeah, like we'll get into that a little bit more later, but like the Germans, like everybody was like, dude, like fucking Antarctica, that's where it's at, dude. Like we gotta plant our little flag there,
right? And we did,
but we succeeded. Also, though, there's talk that the actual mission of Operation High Jump, the actual reasoning was that we needed to go find the German base that was already established there. So apparently, there's like this German base called Base 211. They had gone there like back in the 30s and established this like base where they were kind of accessing, again, like the Sims hole where they were going underground. And so, we were trying to kind of like find that and stop it or join them or whatever. Apparently we fought a battle. Also, apparently Byrd fucking fought a battle. Crafts were coming up like out of the ice and attacking Byrd and his troops. And like, I don't know if that's true. I don't think it is, but that's a theory.
It's super hard to figure out where we're getting into like false lore territory here.
Well, the thing is like the theories are suggested because Byrd's interviews were fucking weird.
Yeah, he said some weird shit.
The things that Byrd said, like there's this quote where he says a new enemy had been discovered who could fly from pole to pole in an instant. It's like, what? Like he literally said that. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I'll just briefly mention here, I don't think I mentioned this in the beginning, that actually in like 2018, there was a satellite image of, did I mention this already?
Not on the pod. We haven't mentioned it yet.
Okay, I talked to you about it before. So there was a satellite image of like this contrail, they call it, which is just basically like an exhaust trail of some kind of craft going from pole to pole.
Oh my God.
And so the average length of a contrail is actually 30 minutes. So it dissipates after 30 minutes. Like it doesn't last. Like you look up in the sky, you see like the trails of planes and whatever. Like, they only last about 30 minutes
call them,
max.
Like,
so the fact that
or like roads or like
strings.
Exhaust. Let's just stop using the T word.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just what it is. That's what I found. And so the fact that this trail had covered the South and North Pole, a distance of 13,000 miles, this suggests that something was traveling extremely fast.
Yeah.
Extremely fast. So that's just like, Byrd said that, again, a new enemy had been discovered that could fly from pole to pole in an instant. We've seen that.
Right.
There's some sort of evidence of that, but like credible or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say
so that's the part of the story that I think is very like muddied and interesting to kind of look into and talk about. But this story doesn't end there, and it gets a little bit less credible for me and definitely wackier.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So after, I think like years after he died, his secret diary came to light. And he was known for keeping a lot of diaries about his expeditions. This one specifically claims that when he was first flying to Antarctica, he was captured in a type of tractor beam, basically, when he was flying over Antarctica, that took him inside the Earth, accompanied by UFOs with Nazi symbolism and swastikas on them. And
Yeah. Right.
he'd been sworn to secrecy his whole life about this story, and he just couldn't handle it because it was so extreme, and he had to let the people know the truth. And so he enters the Earth and meets with a bunch of secret underground Nazis, and found out that they had this secret military base with other top scientists and had been continuing to develop all these weapons and aircraft, assisted by a race of people known as the Ariani. And so the Ariani took them. What am I talking about? They took him to the leader who they called the master.
Yeah.
And the master says that they're in a land called Agartha, which this is not the first time this land has come up.
Right.
They basically were super weirded out by the atomic bombs that were dropped in World War II and started sending out things called, Jesus Christ, called Flugelrods, which is what they called UFOs, to just kind of like see what the fuck was up. And Bird was the messenger they wanted to send to the rest of the world to tell them to cut the shit. And like that, you guys, like, it's so stupid. But apparently they explained that there's like tunnels that would like lead to Agartha from like all over the world, including the North Pole, including the Great Pyramid of Giza. And
whoa.
Yeah, like they had been using these tunnels for all of Earth's history and helped build up all of the ancient great empires. And that's why all these empires like had this idea of gods on Earth. And I mean, we're getting into ancient alien theory now.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so stupid. I'm done.
It's a lot. I just want to say he also saw woolly mammoths down there. That was my favorite part. That woolly mammoths exist down there.
Yeah, it was a beautiful place. I guess like
that's what I'm jealous of.
He said that the gravity was different because of the way it's like pulling on like the center of the Earth and pulling up to the crust. So it's like things grow bigger and there's like more oxygen for some reason. And like, yeah, so there's mammoths and like giants and I don't know, I guess giant Nazis too. And
yeah,
I don't know. Honestly, this whole thing just sucks.
Yeah. I mean, fucking Bird was weird though, because it's like, okay, yeah, the diary was probably fake. I think we can assume that. But he also, like, there's actual interviews with him. You can literally find them on YouTube now. Like, there's interviews with like reputable, news sources, and he just says weird shit. Like, he's talking about how the US needs to adopt measures of protection against the possibility of an invasion by hostile planes coming from the polar regions.
But don't you think he could have just been talking about like other countries?
It's true. Yeah, it's vague. So it's like, yeah, if you're a believer in the hollow earth, like, yes, you're going to hear that and you're going to be like, oh shit, he's talking about fucking aliens coming up out of the earth from the poles and like killing us. But then like, I don't know, it doesn't really seem that convenient for another country to attack us like via the North or South Pole. You know what I mean? It's like even today, it's like planes don't fly over the poles because there's like no way to like refuel. It's like too hostile of a climate. Like the weather is fucking insane there, So it's like,
no, I mean, we
even
know
back
that
then with
now.
like shitty planes, like
we know that today.
Yeah.
But at the time it was like, we had just gotten out of World War II and the US up until then felt very like invincible. And now all of a sudden we live in a super connected world where you can reach anywhere you need to and there is no more safety. And that's kind of what Richard Byrd kept mentioning because he was so afraid of that idea that like there is no more safety and we need to conquer things like the poles as well, or that's just another exposed front.
Right.
I think he was just kind of a paranoid weirdo, really.
Maybe. Yeah, he seemed like it. Right.
Yeah, but I mean,
all right. Well,
this is what people believe. Hollow Earth theorists to this day. This is this version of the Hollow Earth and Agartha, whatever, is like an ancient land that they truly believe exists.
All right. Well, let's touch on like just a little bit more of like the Nazi theory here.
Yeah.
So again, it's the theory that Hitler never actually killed himself. He and his closest buds went to a secret underground tunnel to board an unmarked plane to fly to the South Pole, where they entered the hollow earth, because they already knew about it, of
Right.
course. They were already chatting with, the fucking Nordics
Right.
and whoever's living in there. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting to just think, again, like everybody at this time was suddenly interested in Antarctica. Like, why? Why were we all collectively interested, like in the 30s
Yeah.
and 40s, in going to Antarctica and, staking like claim there? So the Nazis, there actually is this is actually true. The Nazis and Hitler actually did secretly send a team down to Antarctica, like early on, like before the war really began, to harvest whale oil, because I guess like Germans really love fat
Okay.
and like butter and like all that shit,
Ew.
and they were running out. So yeah, they like developed this whole mission called the German Fat Plan, where they went there to like harvest blubber and oil and like all that shit. So like
Ew.
they had some prior experience going there, but then yeah, they got a little more serious about it, and they were like, okay, no, like we need to actually like establish a base there. They apparently in like 1939 they set out on an expedition. They announced a decree about how they established a base called New Swabia, but they never really like saw it through. And they actually like abandoned these claims in 1945, and they actually didn't like formally claim the territory until 1981. So like, I don't know, they just never like according to like actual history, like find it in like a textbook
Right.
and shit, like not like conspiracy, like yeah, they wanted to establish a base there, but they never actually did until way later on. So I don't know, that's kind of like surface level, like what we actually know that the Germans did.
Or what we're like
But yeah,
told
then it gets a
that
little
they did.
yeah, well, we're told,
Yeah.
but then we get a little deeper into what they were actually trying to do here. So all right, I'll try to be brief with this, because this gets a little wild. So in 1870, there's this author, Edward Bulwer Lytton. He actually coined "It was a dark and stormy night."
Oh, beautiful.
So yeah, right. Every time you hear that, this is this guy. I guess he wrote a book, and he was the first person that said that.
Okay.
So he wrote a book called "The Power of the Coming Race," which described an underground race of superhuman angel-like creatures and their mysterious energy called vril. So basically, these people can control this energy for good, but also for evil. And they apparently wanted to come up to Earth, like they were done with inner Earth, and they wanted to come up to Earth and destroy all the humans and basically inhabit the Earth in place of us.
Okay.
The book was very successful. Fucking Nazis loved this.
Of course
They
they
were
did.
like, hell yeah, superior race. Like, let's get on that. And so they formed a group called the Society for Truth, aka the Thule Society, and they
Oh, boy.
were hell-bent on finding these vril people, and they wanted to harness their power. And so yeah, like I guess that's part of like the whole
Right.
Antarctica
Lore.
theory
Yeah.
of the Nazis going there. Like, yes, the Thule Society was kind of in charge. They were very interested in the occult, ancient civilizations. They wanted to go find them and be with them.
Yeah. Okay. And according to Bird's diaries, they did. And they made it work. And they've been there the whole time.
They made it work. Yeah, they fucking are just killing it down there, like, and there's mumblings of Nazi alien tech throughout the ages too.
Right.
I mean, about Die Glocke,
Yeah.
right? And we can talk more
I
about
think we'll
this
do
again
a
in
whole
like
other
another
episode
episode.
on like Nazi tech and that sort of stuff, because
Yeah.
it does get pretty crazy and
Right.
in depth. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like there's just a theory that like the Nazis were working with aliens to develop all of this super high tech
Right.
craft, and that's actually what like Kenneth Arnold
Right.
saw.
And like Foo
We've
Fighters
talked
as well.
about that at
and-
length. Right. Like that was actually like alien Nazi tech.
Yeah.
So again, yeah, we'll talk more about that later.
For sure.
But that's part of the whole thing. So
yeah.
Should we talk about the coast to coast?
Yeah, I mean,
call?
so, obviously the story doesn't end here, but this is about as much as we're going to give any sort of more attention to this idea, I think. There's just been a bunch of people who have
it's too
popped
much.
up. It's too much as it is. A bunch of people who have popped up throughout history and like had their own ideas on Hollow Earth and kind of moved it in different directions. So it's still a conspiracy today. There was like Cyrus Teed developed the idea that we're already living on the inside of the Earth, and when we look up, that's the crust, and the Earth and stars are just refractions of the battery operated quote unquote sun that exists in the center of the Earth. He actually developed an entire religion around this idea that had over 200 people in the cult. But then he died, and his religion died, and in 1921 a hurricane destroyed his tomb and washed his coffin out to sea, and that's that.
His tomb?
Yeah.
He was in a tomb?
I don't know. So then there's also another one from history. This is one I like this dude just because he had an interview with our old friend Art Bell on Coast to Coast.
Our old boy.
We did a bunch of stuff on Coast to Coast and Art Bell when we did our Area 51 episode. If you want to listen to some tapes with him, talking to some spooky people. He had a really cool program for years where he'd interview anyone that had like paranormal or crazy claims. They had like an open channel on his show. And he interviewed this guy one time called Dallas Thompson in 2002.
Strong name.
It is a strong name. He said that interdimensional beings live in the Earth and they use a bunch of subterranean channels to move about. This really gets into like the idea of, again, like Agartha and like Shambhala. So it's like a Buddhist idea.
Shambhala.
Yeah. He kind of believed in a bunch of that sort of logic and said that these beings used these underground tunnels to survive an upcoming apocalypse, and that if human beings wanted to survive the apocalypse, they would need to join him underground. He said that he was going to be going on an expedition to this area through the South Pole, and he needed the funding, and he developed a big following because of it, and because of the book he released on it. And he very shortly after the broadcast just went missing, and no one knows really what happened to him at all. So people were really spooked by it. Some people think he made it. But he also said that the apocalypse was going to be in 2003, and that's why he needed everyone to join him. So
yeah.
Maybe.
Hey, why not?
Yeah,
so the book he wrote was called Cosmic Manuscript, and it's no longer in print. It was basically an instruction book on how to guide and navigate the shifting of enlightenment within oneself.
Beautiful.
So, he was that type of dude. So book's no longer in print. He's no longer talking.
No,
so I don't know. It is weird. It's like, why? Because he's famous. Like, people know him. Like, why wouldn't he keep trying to make money and sell this book? Like that's weird. That's a weird thing to just totally like disappear and not make money anymore from your book. Like,
that's weird.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Overall thoughts, Tal? Overall thoughts on this whole...
Dude, there's
this whole hole?
It's all bullshit. But like, okay. It's all bullshit. But also like, there's that weird image that you can Google of like the NASA satellite image of the South Pole, and there's just a massive hole. Like no one...
What the fuck is that about?
No.
Why is it... Why? There's no clear image. Guys, you guys, this is actually so strange. Like, you Google, it's not even like, oh, Google Hollow Earth and like, find what you want to find. Like, just like, the fucking algorithm like feeding you bullshit. It's like, no, you Google NASA satellite image, North Pole, and you'll find like, these images where it's just like almost like a perfectly circular hole where the poles are. There's like, it's like blotted out. There's like weird, it's like they're always like mysteriously covered. I mean, people say that like maybe it was just like a gap in transmission. It just happened to gap out like perfectly where the poles are, but it's weird.
It is weird,
man.
I hate this so much. I hate that every time we start doing research for one of these episodes, I'm like, this is so stupid. Why am I doing this shit? And then it's like 3/4 of the way through, I'm like, fuck, why is there a hole at the fucking North Pole? I don't want to know this shit. Like, I don't have any more brain power
like,
for this. God damn it.
Something I also really like to do, like I like to just go on like Google Earth, like satellite, whatever, and just kind of like poke around Antarctica a little bit, like just on the satellite view and like look at weird shit. Like there I've seen some weird shit. There's like these weird trails.
Stop.
That'll come up.
Stop talking about trails.
Yeah. Try it. I love trails.
Oh my God.
I love trail mix. I'm going to keep saying trails trigger Tal.
They do. They do. Not the territory we're going to be jumping into. Look, guys, that's it. All right.
I love our alliteration here. Take me to your trail, Tal.
Take me to your trailer.
I don't want to go there. Okay, we're done.
Yeah, we're done, guys. We're done.
We're done with this. These holes. We spelunked and bunked the holes.
We did, for sure. Are we allowed to throw up that photo of the pole on our Instagram? I mean, it's just like a NASA image, right? So we could just like throw that on there for you guys. Yeah, I think so. We can like put it up there so you guys can see as well. Some holes. Yeah. So check us out.
Look at these holes.
Instagram.
Look at our holes. Maybe we'll show you some of our holes.
TMTYD pod on Instagram. Laura apparently might throw up some weird shit. I don't know.
I might throw up a hole.
And check us out on Patreon because you never know what Laura's going to put up on there either. It's our TMTYD pod Patreon as long as we're heading in this direction, Laura.
No, I'm fucking writing a check my ass. My hole can't cash. I can't do this.
No.
Okay.
We gotta go.
We're done.
We should have ended this 5 minutes ago.
Reddit.
Bye.
Reddit, TMTYD pod. Instagram, TMTYD pod. Patreon, take me to your dealer. Yeah. Okay. Love you all.
Yeah.
Hole out. Don't be a Sims hole.
Don't be a Sims hole.
We're holing.
All right. Bye.
Goodbye.